Hi, Gerry. So nice to have you on the What podcast. I really look forward to our conversation to get to know you a little better. I know we were in a class together, but I feel like there's so much that I want to know. And the audience, I'm sure, is going to be very curious. So if you would like to start by introducing yourself, and then we can get into a nice conversation.
Mm-hmm. My name's Gerry Morisseau, and I live on Vancouver Island in a town called Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been here for only a year, so I was looking for something new, something I could do to occupy my time. So I started looking at coaching programs,
Okay.
and that's when I discovered Canada Coach, and I liked what I saw. And it appeared to be a very supportive kind of school. And I started out by taking the life and wellness course. And now I did complete that. And now I've just finished the grief course.
Mm.
Both were excellent. I felt not only did I learn coaching skills, but just in terms of my own communication, I
Mm.
can see I've kicked it up a notch or two.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, because I think I just mentioned it, but I love that our community represents this, age span from like 17 to 83, which is, your beautiful age. And I'm
Mhm.
curious to know, like, what was your life experience before coaching? What were you
Um,
preoccupied with?
well, I worked for the school district in Victoria for quite a long time,
Okay.
and I was a teacher and a district helping teacher. So I did workshops and talked to other teachers and supported them. So I guess that's one of the reasons coaching appealed to me so much.
Mm.
When I retired, I retired because my husband had had a stroke, and I was retired for a little while, and he just said, "Oh, there's a job in the paper here, Gerry." He said, "It sounds like you." So I don't know if he thought I was spending too much time at home. Anyway,
That's a good one.
it's a good one.
Yeah.
And so I did go back to work for about 3 years, and I worked at the Native Friendship Center in Nanaimo. And I love that too. And then when I finished that, um, I worked on contract for UVic. They had a program to teach instructors for teaching English as an additional language. So they had someone to do the theory, and they invited me to do the practical side of it.
Mm.
So I did that for a while too. It was great.
Yeah.
And then mainly I was up until COVID, I was tutoring in the local high school. So I've had lots of very just wonderful experiences in working with people, and coaching just seemed to be a fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very supportive in your
Mhm.
roles, especially in education. And so, what do you feel, if anything, like what did you learn about yourself, or as you move through the program?
Well, what, there's one thing in our culture, we are quite an ageist culture. And some things are subtle, some things are not so subtle. Um, One thing I learned in my first course was definitely I was visible again, and that was a really good feeling.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, and because now, as an older woman, now I've just turned 84, so the years just keep going
Oh,
up.
wow. They do. Sure.
And so there's no holding them back.
Mm,
And I, I just, I felt again renewed by taking the course and being with other people where we were on the same page. We were all learning together. We were sometimes making mistakes, but we were learning from those mistakes. And it was incredibly powerful experience. But
mm.
I did have one unusual thing. Um, one night, our instructor, Kate, we had a little assignment. She said it was the mirror assignment. So we were to go and look in the mirror, not just a flash look, but to
Yeah.
spend some time in front of the mirror. And I have a mirror in my hallway that I don't spend a lot of time looking into. So I was standing there and I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, you are so old, Gerry. And I'm just looking at myself, really recognizing how old I was. But of course, we had to stay looking. I think it was like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it's a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is quite a while when you think of it. So, but the more I looked at myself, all of that about my aging skin and eyes, mouth, whatever, all of me, my gray hair, I just looked and I thought, yeah, but I'm still in there
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Oh,
I'm vital and I'm learning and I'm having fun and I'm having some just aha moments. This is good.
that's amazing. I mean,
And
I'm so in awe of you, I have to say. I love that you're still pursuing learning and education and better, self-improvement at your age. And I hope that everybody does that. My dad is 83 and he's a very active 83. I mean, he's
mm,
traveling, he's backpacking across Asia for 5 weeks and I love seeing that because isn't that the hope that we all have, right? To
it
continue.
is. And I think sometimes because ageism in the subtle ways, we can almost, at times take it on ourselves. And all one has to do is listen to conversations when you're with a group of people,
Mm,
um, even in their 70s, 80s, because there can be pain. There can be diagnoses that are really hard to hear and to cope with. But we do also have a lot of resources that we can go to. So it may not always be easy. I mean, sometimes you have to give yourself a little push. And I mean, there have been times too in my courses where I need to give myself a push because I didn't have difficulty with the content, but I had difficulty with the technology
hmm.
because I'm not really accomplished that way. I mean, even when I first signed up for the first class, I didn't even know how to get into the class, really.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Um, there was a note about contacting Sierra if you had any issues. Well, I certainly had issues because I needed to get on my class. And so I contacted her and she helped me to do that. So
Yes.
every time I had a concern, I would contact her. And
Resourceful.
yeah, she resolved it for me. But also there are people in our community. I had a funny thing because I was having difficulty with the document I was doing, and I was stuck and I couldn't fix it. But I had recalled I talked to the receptionist people at my dental office. So I phoned them and, and I told them, I said, I am really having difficulty. And right away, the fellow said, Well, I can help you, Gerry. Well, I know he said, I know where you live. I've got your address right here. He said, I'll just pop over after work and help you.
Oh, wow. Are you kidding? What a nice man.
I mean, really. So he came and he stayed for 2 hours and he got everything figured out for me.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
asking for help is hard for a lot of people. So I think that that's just an incredible example of, and I just read a research recently. I don't remember where it was because I have so much reading that I have to do, but
Yeah.
it was about our misconception of reaching out for help and how we think will be perceived by people compared to how we're actually perceived. So let's say you
Interesting.
have like distance between you and somebody in your family or a friend, and you reach out. A lot of
Hmm.
people are afraid because they feel like they're not going to be received well. And so there's this gap between what we believe and what is actually
Hmm.
happening, which I thought was super interesting because a lot of people hesitate to ask for help, right?
I think that's true, Natalie. And I don't know if we've learned that it could not be a positive thing. But in fact, like you say, the research is showing that it can be. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, imagine how many missed opportunities there are for people who are, concerned about reaching out for help. I think
I
that,
know.
when you think about like if you had stopped at the computer technology part of this program, we wouldn't get to see you and know you,
Oh, no.
right? So
And I wouldn't have finished my course.
right, right. So, and I wonder, like before COVID, before we went online, we were
Mhm.
doing these courses on site for a
Yeah,
portion of it anyway.
yeah.
And I remember at the time, the technology for the online portion of the program, it was 3 days on site and then 10 weeks online.
Oh,
That
okay.
was actually a bit of a hurdle for some people because they didn't want to learn online. And we
Mm,
had that issue because there was so much choice. Go on site or take a course online. Then when COVID
okay.
hit, everybody started doing online education. And so the choice was eliminated. So they had
Hmm.
to learn and they had to get online. People, like you, all kinds of people at all kinds of ages and different sectors and industries and professions started to get
Hmm.
online. And I remember thinking, that's what we needed to eliminate the choice to change these habitual patterns of behavior that are hard to break, right? Because change is
Yes.
hard for a lot of people. And then now it's like normal. Everybody's been on Zoom. And I remember when we first started in COVID teaching, I would say I would have to walk people through the Zoom like screen and the technology. I would take so much more time because not everybody, it would be like the first time somebody had
I
been
know.
on Zoom.
I
And now
know. I remember it well because during COVID I had signed up to take a course from Simon Fraser on
Mm.
gerontology.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everything was again new to me because it was on Zoom. And the first assignment was creating an avatar. I didn't even know what an avatar was, let alone create one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's, yeah, I mean, even the vocabulary has changed.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's prompted
yeah.
so much change. And coaching is all about change. So, what's your experience learning the skills and strategies of a coach? Like, how are you relating to change now, or is there a difference?
I think for me personally, it has given me even more encouragement to keep on learning,
Mm,
to to make my life the best it can be now. I mean, I have arthritis, but I can do things to overcome. Um, if I have a sore day, I actually find exercise helps me a lot.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And so I work out twice a week and I do yoga once a week. So, and I walk. So I try with the exercise component is really helpful to me. I think probably in all ways.
mm-hmm.
The coaching specifically, what I'm thinking, I would love to work with older people. And coaching, because it's about change and it's positive, I would love to be, I mean, there are so many older people, from what I understand, are living in isolation and are just feeling lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I would love to see, as we challenge all of these notions of ageism, how it could really turn around with coaching.
What do you envision?
Well, excuse me, I just have to. You know what? I guess what I've been thinking, if I had the skills, like to do workshops with groups of older people, and I would probably have to pull in some younger people from the high school or university to help with the technical part of things. But that's a good thing too, because it's really difficult not to get engaged. They would automatically, they would engage. I know that from experience. And I think, just doing a workshop like I saw Kelly Wood do, the one on strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had like just a group of older people to just rekindle thinking about their strengths that maybe they've tucked away somewhere and have forgotten how much they actually have going for themselves.
Mm. Well, yeah, isolation can really wreak havoc on people's, sense of self. And we know that we need connection, belonging, and
Yeah,
interaction, talking to people for wellness and for thriving.
yeah,
So
yes.
that must be such an interesting segment for you. At 84 years old to become a coach to seniors is like, that's such an amazing, vision for yourself. And so have you had any interaction? Like, have you started to bring people in for coaching?
Well, I've been coaching, and I've had a few older people that I've just coached one-to-one, and it's been positive. But I'm not sure, like I love the one-to-one, but because ageism is, I think it's a problem in our
Mm.
society. And even organizations like CARP, which is the Canadian Association for Retired Persons,
Okay.
one of their goals is to look at ageism and see how we can change it. So I'm just thinking, I've got the answer. I've got the answer. Coaching could make a huge difference.
Oh, wow.
And it could be done individually, but it could also be done in groups. And then it would just get people thinking in a different kind of way. Because, if we believe too much what we think, and we think because we're older that we're not capable in many ways, well, we can change that thinking too.
Wow, that's so inspirational. I mean, we know that baby boomers are going to make up, or already do make up, huge population. The retirees are the greatest population right now. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
certainly a need for attention to ageism.
Oh, yes. I think one of the people whose work I follow is Becca Levy,
Okay.
and she is such a believer in how we think, how we can, change that thinking so we can live better lives.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think it's something that we can really change, but it will be a fair amount of work. And that's okay. I mean, that's okay. I have energy to work myself. But I'm in a new environment here, so I don't yet have my circle of people.
Right. Right. So what is your strategy for outreach then?
Well, I just joined a walking group
Hmm,
called Tuesday Trekkers.
nice.
I love the way they advertised. It was through the newcomers, and it said like, if you want to climb steep mountains and go really quickly, this group is not for you.
That's great.
Isn't that great?
Okay.
So I've been on 2 walks with them, and it's great. It's because it's newcomers, I would say many of the people are younger than I am, but still they're retired,
Okay.
living a different kind of life. So,
Yeah.
like we said, everybody is aging. So I'm making connections that way. I also went to another newcomers event, which was at the local theater, and it was a showing of Mamma Mia
Mm,
with the words at the bottom. And it was fabulous, Natalie.
nice.
We sang, we danced right through the whole movie.
Oh, wow.
It
That's
was
great.
so good.
Yeah.
So things, I've tried different things. I once tried to get a professor to supervise an independent study, but I couldn't find anyone.
A
But
study on?
well, I was really interested again in ageism and
Mhm.
combating it, what to do. And that was before I took my life and wellness coaching. And now I just feel I have so many more answers, so much I could contribute. And I have to find a way to do that.
Interesting. And so what do you think is the like the first step for you? You talked about a few things. So
Yeah, I think what I'll do is, as I say, I couldn't find anyone to supervise me, but I did find a prof at the university who did write to me, and he said, I don't have time to do that, but he said, I'm happy to meet with you and talk with you about what you are doing.
mm.
So I do meet him.
Nice.
I meet him for coffee every couple months.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So he's been really supportive. So I think if I could approach him again to see where I might be able to go from here. And I'm hoping through Canada Coach, like I just know there's got to be a way to do this, Natalie, but I don't have the answers yet. But I feel because change is central to coaching, and if people are thinking in ageist kinds of ways, how we could help people begin to look at that and just see the effects it might be having on the quality of life,
Mm-hmm.
and to help change that kind of thinking so that they could change their way and reach out and find all these sources we have here to support us.
Well, it's such an interesting topic. And, so change is central, but community is also central to change.
Yes, yes,
So
yeah.
reaching out to your community, whether it's Coach Academy or your local community, I think that's for sure where things start. They
Mhm.
need to start to build momentum, right?
Yes, yes. And I'm going to also, I have friends in Victoria too, because I worked in Victoria for a long time. And some of them are connected to community facilities. So I don't know, if they see me coming, they'll think, oh my goodness, now what? But I see that I have some opportunity there as well.
What do you think is the most like when you think ageism, what stands out for you as the root of the problem?
I think we're in our culture, we're accepting of it. And I just from what I've read, the research that as early as 3 years old, we're already forming our thinking and beliefs about what it means to be old.
Hmm. Oh,
And
wow.
when you ask, I haven't done a lot of workshops with adults in this way, but one I did where I asked people, what, right off the top of your head, what comes to mind when you think of aging? And usually people right away will say a couple of negative things like,
Really? Mine's wisdom.
mhm. I know, well, you see, but that's fairly unique. Usually
Mm.
it will be a couple of negative things, and then there'll be positive after that. But to start, it's quite often. And I mean, I have just noticed how, as an older person, I'm not as visible as I was as a younger woman.
Well, look, I turned 50 this year,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know. I have a little of that too. Now, I don't know what it is if I'm less focused on or I've shifted my emphasis on what visible means, right? So
Mm,
for me, I want to have an impact from my intellectual perspectives, my desire to change and make an impact in the world, and the ripple effect. And I think that focus has shifted from maybe where it was before, which is probably a lot more shallow and like, I don't know, different ways we are as we grow
mm.
up. So I have noticed something shift at 50, but I'm loving it. And
Good, good.
I think my 50s are going to be the best ever.
They will, I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So
know.
yeah, redefining what aging means. And I think that's an important and probably one of the most important things we can actually help the next generation, shift.
I think so, and I think having the discussions about it does help people to begin to think of other ways. I Because even our greeting cards, I mean, I don't want to get too picky about things, but most of them make fun of being old as being crotchety and feeble and just losing it, basically.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And like you say with your dad, I mean, he's out there hiking,
Yeah. No,
backpacking.
yeah, he's really redefined age for me, I have to say, like with his energy and enthusiasm and his physical awareness and commitment to staying, very physical. Even my mom has MS, so she's in a wheelchair,
Hmm.
but her spirit is so young. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever heard my mom complain about anything. So
No.
that spirit of youth is as important as the physical, right? If not more, because I think it starts here, right? And then
Yeah.
it starts so even in a wheelchair, I feel like she's super vibrant and has so much energy and is engaged and always trying new things. And so
Yeah.
yeah, really mindset is very, very important in life for sure.
I think it is key. And, for someone like your mom too, to be dealing with having MS and how that would change her life, that she still, though, is finding ways to be positive
Mhm.
and to try new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, healthy mind is healthy spirit, right? So
Hmm.
the little things that you can do to stay engaged, those are the things
Hmm.
that keep us. Actually, I just watched a TED Talk, which I thought was so cute. It was a 7-year-old girl
Uh-huh.
telling adults how to nurture her brain as a 7-year-old. So she's talking about how, how parents or adults can do better to engage and nurture children's brains. And she said she had
Wonderful.
5 things that she pointed out that I
Uh-huh.
think are absolutely 5 things for life. If I'm just going to
Hmm.
pull up the screenshot I took. So she says the 5 things are top 5 tips:
Hmm.
connecting,
Hmm.
talking,
Hmm.
playing,
Hmm.
um, a healthy home,
Yes.
and community. Those
Oh,
are the 5 tips. So, and I mean, if you think about those 5 tips, isn't it the same at 84 as it is at 7? Like,
it is. It really is.
mm.
And what a wise child.
I know. And she's such a good speaker. It was such a great talk.
Uh, yes, I think I've seen that little girl. But those are such wise things to carry right through. And somehow, if I don't know what happens, that we think that we need to set ourselves aside in some way. Um, we just need a reminder because we don't, even if we have disabilities that are really difficult to deal with. I think we can still do things to give ourselves quality and to be part of our community in some way.
Yeah.
Coaching would be so helpful
Yeah.
because I think it's that self-efficacy where coaching would enable that again. Because I don't know, I might be wrong, but I think in our culture, there's still a way of thinking of older people need to be taken care of and that they are not really capable of problem solving and finding out ways that they can do their caretaking or look for support, but have a voice so that they can find that strength again.
Well, and when you talk about coaching and the coach approach for me is very empowering, right? It's this, like you said, self-efficacy. And if we shift, I mean, it's true with kids or with anybody really, it's that advice monster, right? The moment
Oh, yeah.
that we start to tell people what to do or approach them like they are incapable, they become
Mhm.
incapable. So when
Exactly.
you know, I have I have witnessed people who are in your age group who lost a spouse, and in their relationship they were very dependent, and when that spouse was gone, suddenly they were doing things and taking charge of things that they had never done before, almost like incredible transformations of empowerment, because suddenly it was permission, change. I don't know, something happened that allowed them to step into their strength. And
Yes.
when you say, we try to take care of elderly people, I think
Hmm.
that it starts there. Like, how else can we approach in a way that is empowering, resourceful, whole, capable? We think of
Hmm.
people in that way, like we do in coaching.
Yes.
What would change, I wonder?
Oh, so much would change. I mean, Natalie, that would be huge because even if we look at the visuals, I always notice in magazines or on TV when there's an ad about for a seniors residence, um, either the people are quite young.
Yeah, I've noticed.
And, yeah. But if they're older, someone will have an arm around them, sort of looks to
Yeah,
me like stabilizing
look
them or
frail.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of loving, but it's more like we know you need to be taken care of. Right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm just thinking about my parents again too. They live in assisted living because of my mom. Sometimes she needs support if my dad's not there,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
doesn't worry because he knows she has support. But I
Yeah.
think of all the activities they have, the gardens that they have. There's a 92-year-old man who gardens with my dad every day, and it's just the joy of seeing things grow and the way they set up that independence for them to
Hmm.
continue
Hmm.
to learn. They have workshops, they have games, they have cards, they have bridge, they have all the things that you could possibly want, and
Yes.
it's all built around community,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I think you can see how people then blossom
Mm-hmm.
when they have all that stimulation compared to just being alone with nothing going on except memories that are important for sure. But if we're alive, it's so good if we can keep building.
Yeah.
And most everyone I know has interests of some kind that they can become excited again. And they just need maybe a link to be able to think, yes, let's find a way in this community that I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that actually brings me to the grief course. Like I know you were a big part of that.
Mhm.
I myself was so blown away by the community that was built in that course, just that
Mhm.
course alone.
I
That was
know.
just so beautiful. The
Yeah.
connection, the support, the depth of sharing that took
Mhm.
place. What are your thoughts on, at grief? I know as we age, we tend to lose people we love.
Mhm.
What have you been thinking about that, maybe for yourself as a coach?
Yes, I did enjoy that course too. And to just make the connection with all the classmates and people's experiences and some of the poetry that people shared. I loved that.
Yeah.
Um, the TED Talks we watched, the guests you invited in as well. My thoughts, just as a person whose husband died, in the beginning, um, it is difficult for
Mm,
sure.
mhm,
And sometimes I still, I feel mm, not not like I can't get out of the house, but I'll feel longing for my husband.
mhm,
But he's not coming back. I know that. But what I think, and one thing I learned was um, when I think of my husband, I think of his strengths, and I try to be that myself.
mm.
So that's been a good thing for me to move forward and bring my life back to. It's like now I'm making a new life. It's different to
Oh,
be
yeah.
an
Yeah.
individual and making all those decisions, not having someone to, there's a difference in talking to friends and compared to one spouse.
Yeah.
So, um, but I think the grief course again just reinforced for me the listening, like being present for other people, how important that is. And it's helpful. It's helpful. It's rewarding to me, not only if I'm received that way, but also when I care about someone enough to truly attend to them and listen. It does reward me too.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how that happens, but it does. So I think the grief course has helped me become a better listener, to be more present.
Yeah, it's something that it's the hardest space to hold. I think it's the most emotional, right? It's the
Yeah.
most sensitive and difficult, I think, because we get pulled into our own grief when others grieve, right? And so it's harder
Mm-hmm.
to self-manage. But yeah, the opportunity that I saw, well, first of all, so many people in the course commented on their, first of all, the awareness that was created for them on the different ways that people grieve
Mm-hmm.
and the things we grieve. It's not just loss of life, it's the multiple transitions in life that we grieve.
Mm-hmm.
That was really nice to see. And it was
Mm-hmm.
also nice to see how people were relating to their grief differently. Because I guess
Yes.
the reflection and the learning was really neat. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, like, yeah, I don't know. I think that there's such a big opportunity for coaches to support people through grief. Uh,
Yes. Yes. And like you say, Natalie, it was fascinating to hear all the differences, all of the ways that families would grieve, depending on their culture or their faith.
mhm.
And I liked learning that. I also liked the part of the grief chorus that touched on resilience.
Mm.
Um, like the woman whose daughter had died.
Lucy Hone. Yeah,
Yes,
for research.
yes. That was important to me to learn about that and how she worked through that and continued to when she had that tragedy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I I thought it was a very helpful course for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And to again, like be open to know that there are so many different ways people are comfortable approaching life and how we can support each other in doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was very good.
What was the reason you wanted to take the course?
Well, partly because I was interested in grieving itself. Um, because my way of grieving, I think I didn't really find right off the bat the kind of support I was hoping to find. I had to search for it. I mean, I did find it. And I wanted to take the course to see what else I could learn about grieving and how I could perhaps help myself, but also help other people. And a friend of mine who works in another area said, "Oh, Gerry, I wish you would take that grief course because I have a lot of clients that I think would probably want to come to see you."
Oh, wow. Are you open to
Oh,
that?
oh, I'm open. I'm
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
How long ago has it been since you lost your husband?
It's just over 3 years now.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
fairly. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all, I mean, including the big things like the loss of a person who's at your back and all of those things. Like I had never even taken out the garbage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the first time I did, and I put my cans out on the road, I got a note from the garbage people reprimanding me because I hadn't spaced them properly.
Oh, no.
So
That's the worst, isn't it?
that
You
was
want-
the worst. My neighbor said, "Gerry, you are letting the neighborhood down." Like, come
Oh,
on.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there's a learning curve to everything, isn't there?
there really is, Natalie.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
I get
just
the same notes from my garbage actually. So I just want to let you know
okay,
you're not the only one.
thank you. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I
I do. Just
feel
last
so
week,
much better.
actually.
I feel so
Yeah.
much better.
And then I started going off about the city, and I got put in my place by somebody I'm not going to say, saying, "Can you just don't own it, look in the mirror, and do it right?" Fine.
Oh my God. Oh, I feel so much better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not the only one. Don't worry.
Good, good. Oh man.
Yeah,
Anyhow, yeah.
yeah.
Just being attached to your school has been, I think it's just rejuvenating for me.
Hmm.
You know,
So great.
yeah, it really has been. And the instructors, the resource people. I have Here's what I have never asked a question either in class or outside of class that wasn't answered immediately.
Mm,
Yeah.
good to know.
Did you know that? Did you
No,
know
I
that?
didn't. No,
Yeah,
no, but it
it's
doesn't
true.
surprise me. It's like our team is they're all so self-motivated.
I
Yeah.
know. It's and that doesn't usually happen when you're taking a class. I mean, people are busy. I mean, I think you must stay up around the clock, but somehow you still can answer a question. Yeah.
I get up very early and I go to
Uh,
bed pretty early, but I'm
yeah.
up early, so maybe it feels like I'm always awake. But
Because it seemed like that to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's well, and the community, the way it's set up, it gives us alerts and it gives us notifications when students ask questions. So we're always
Mm,
seeing those notifications, and Marianne sees everything, Sierra sees everything. So it's the way that it's structured, which I'm grateful for the platform and the
oh, yes.
um,
It's so
yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's so good. So now I don't quite know what to do next, but now I'm just thinking about how to find people that might want to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, this could be one. Hopefully, some people are listening right now to refer. I think your the people that you want to focus on in your coaching is an area that needs so much attention, and there's not everybody who either wants to work with that population or has time to work with that population, or maybe they're specialized in something else. So I
mm,
think it's really great that you are here today on the podcast to,
thank
at
you.
least get the word out a little bit of your desire to, work with an older population that is in need very much
Mhm.
of support and community and connection, right?
Well, thank you. I mean, I know the community is there, and I think we can make changes so that they're positive for people, so that
Mm,
it increases the number of older people who are feeling vital, just feeling excited about living, even
yeah.
though they may be dealing with hardships too. So, how do we work with that? How do we make our life just be the best it can be?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, I am so pleased to have had this conversation with you today. I am really just thrilled that you're in our community.
Thank
And
you.
I'm
Thank you.
thrilled that that you felt it was worth your time, and that you got something out of it. I really, it makes me so happy to know that you found a place that you feel comfortable and that you belong in. Because,
Yes.
that to me is the big piece, that I want everyone to feel belonging. And yeah, I just want to thank you for your time. Is there anything that can people reach you somewhere? Like if they want to connect with you, do you have a
Yes.
website or email?
People can reach my email at g.morisseau@shaw.ca. And I'll
Okay.
spell Morisseau because it's MOR, one R,
Yeah.
ISSEAU.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
We'll put it in the show notes so that people can
Okay,
also see it if they want to get in
thank
touch
you.
with you.
Thanks
And
so much.
yeah, and I just want to say I loved our conversation. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Natalie. I enjoyed it too. And thank you so much for the courses that you are offering there.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my happy place.
Happy place. I can see that. It shows.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.